Hey third graders. Okay, this video doesn't actually go with any specific lesson, but I'm putting it first in the email to your parents so that you can watch it as many times as you want to. We're going to do some flashcard practice. And like I said, it doesn't go with any specific lesson, but it would be helpful. If you know this stuff, it will help you on like all of your worksheets this week, if that makes sense. Okay, so the first thing is, let's go over the freezing point of water in Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit's what we use here in America. So at what temperature does water freeze? Say it, like out loud in your living room, even though it might feel weird, just go ahead and say it. Hi, babies. Can you sit down so that people can see the flashcards? Thank you. Sit. Thank you. Go friends. Good boys. Okay. So freezing point. You've had time to think about it, and you are saying 32 degrees. Pat yourself on the back. Maybe keep track of how many you got right. And then like if you watch the video another time, you can see if you do better the second time. Okay, so freezing point is 32 in Fahrenheit. What is it in Celsius? Remember, Celsius, most of their temperatures are really easy numbers to remember. At what temperature does water freeze Celsius? 0 degrees. Okay. Boiling point of water in Fahrenheit. At what point, what degrees does water boil in Fahrenheit? Say it out loud so you can keep track of how many you're getting right before I flip it. Did you say 212 degrees? 212 degrees Fahrenheit is when water boils. At what temperature does water boil in Celsius? Remember, easy to remember numbers. It's hotter. It's boiling. 0 degrees. 100 degrees. I can talk. It's fine. I need more coffee. I need more coffee. Okay, maybe I won't make so many mistakes. I probably still will. Okay, now this one is a number you might not have memorized yet, but you might have. This is normal body temperature in Fahrenheit. When your parent takes your temperature, what are they hoping it is? Like, this is the good thing. This is what you want to have when you take your temperature. It should be, say it to yourself, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. 98.6. That's in Fahrenheit. This is the only one that's not super easy to remember, is the Celsius one. You know how they're usually like zeros and hundreds and stuff? This one is not. So this would be the normal body temperature in Celsius. If your parent somehow got, well, actually digital thermometers, you can switch over to Celsius if you wanted to. And so if you switch it over to Celsius and you took your temperature, this is what you'd want it to say. 37 degrees. 37. Okay? Okay, the next thing, we're just going to go through flashcards. So I will say it, and then you will try to quickly say the answer before I flip it. So 1 pound equals how many ounces? 16. 1 ton, okay, by the way, you're going to see some interesting things in these flashcards. Like, whoever took like a marker and wrote a 2, first of all, that's not the right answer, so don't let that mess you up. 1 ton equals how many pounds? Ton, it's heavy. How many pounds in a ton? 2,000. 1 gallon is how many quarts? How many quarts in a gallon? 4. A week. How many days in a week? I feel a song coming on. You got it? There are how many? 7 days, right? 7 days in a week. A bushel. How many pecks in a bushel? Pecks. Think of pecks in a bushel. 4. Okay, a foot. How many inches in a foot? Think about your ruler. 12. A yard. How many feet in a yard? Feet in a yard. 3 feet in a yard. Okay? Okay, a mile. How many feet in a mile? There are still a few of you who do not have this memorized. It's a 4-digit number and you have to get it memorized. Feet in a mile. Guess something real quick. It is 5,280. 5280. Feet in a mile. Okay, the next flashcard, I promise it was not Gus. It was like this when I got it. Oh, wait, not that one. Oh, yeah, this one. Look at this. It's all ripped. Look at that. But we can still kind of tell what it says. 1 mile is how many yards? Okay, so feet in a mile, 5,280. Yards in a mile. It's another 4-digit number, but it starts with 1. 1,760 yards in a mile. Okay? Okay, inches in a yard. How many inches in a yard? Yardstick. 36. Okay, pints in, cups in a pint. 1 pint is how many cups? Cups in a pint. 2. 1 quart is how many? 1 quart is how many pints? How many pints in a quart? 2 again. Okay, 1 gallon is how many quarts? So how many quarts are in a gallon? 4 quarts in a gallon. Okay, this one I'm not sure if we've really gone over that much, so I want to make sure that you know this. TBSP, that's tablespoon, that's the bigger one, and then is how many teaspoons, that's the smaller one. So how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? You can just throw out a guess if you're trying to keep track. 3, so 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. 1 cup is how many fluid ounces? That's liquid. How many ounces in a cup? 8. 8 ounces in a cup. I'm actually going to be using this for something else, but I can show you. This cup is 8 ounces. Oh, it shows it right here. 1 cup of liquid is 8 ounces. Make sure you can see that. Okay. So, if there's 8 ounces in a cup, 1 pint would be how many ounces? If there's 8 ounces in a cup, then there must be 16 ounces in a pint. Okay, a peck is how many quarts? How many quarts are in a peck? Quarts in a peck. 8 quarts in a peck. Okay, how many minutes are in an hour? Minutes in an hour. You know this. 60. How many hours in a day? 1 day is how many hours? 24. Okay, how many weeks in a year? This one's still, you might not have this one memorized. How many weeks in a year? The answer is about 52. About 52 weeks in a year. Okay, how many days in a year? 1 year is how many days? 365. Most of you, I think, have this one down pat by now. So if there's 365 in a year, how many are in a leap year? 366. Okay, how many seconds in a minute? 60. How many months in a year? 12. Okay, a decade. How many years is it if I say a decade? A decade is 10 years. And this, I think I'm teaching you something new. A score is how many years? 1 score. 20. A score is 20 years. So I'm 2 scores because I'm 40. Okay, a century. How many years is a century? 100 years. And a millennium, you might think a million because it sounds kind of like million, but it's not a million. A millennium is 1,000 years. And then I just wanted to talk to you about this metric prefix kilo. I'm just reminding you that kilo stands for 1,000. So if I put kilo in front of something, I mean 1,000 of that something. So if I say kilometers, kilometers, I'm talking about 1,000 meters. If I say kilograms, I'm talking about 1,000 grams. If I say kiloliters, I'm talking about 1,000 liters. Kilo means 1,000. I just want to make sure that you know that. Kilo is the big one. It means 1,000. Okay. So that's flashcard practice. If ever you want to go through those again, you don't have to watch this whole video because I'm going to do some more stuff right now, but if you at least watch that, it will help you. Okay. The other thing I want to say a couple more things to you. Just reminders. Okay. I'm going to back up a little, make sure you can see this. This is a yardstick. Let's see if I can set that up so it won't fall. Come on, don't fall. That's going to fall here. Okay, that's a yardstick. This is a meter stick. You can see that the meter stick is about 3 inches taller than the yardstick. So in one of your worksheets, I think it's the first one you're doing this week, it's going to ask you to circle what's bigger, and they're going to say yard or meter. So you're obviously going to circle the meter stick. Meters are just a little bit bigger than yards. Okay, just a reminder on that. And then they're also going to ask you about ounces and grams. In the English measurement system, ounces are our lightest thing. And we said that an ounce is about, if you're holding 5 nickels in your hand, that's about an ounce. It's not very heavy, but 5 nickels, that's about an ounce. A gram, remember we talked about these in class, these little tiny plastic discs, this is a gram. This is like lighter than a paper clip, or about as light as a paper clip. So they're gonna ask you which is heavier. Well, it's going to be the ounce. Okay, 5 nickels is a little heavier than a gram. So an ounce is heavier. Okay, and then the only other thing, I think you might probably already know this one. They're going to ask you about a cup and a gallon. We're almost out of chocolate milk, but if it was all the way full. Okay, so obviously the gallon is more. Okay, that, like I said, that's on the back of, I think, the first week worksheet that you're doing this week. So hopefully the flashcard practice helped you, and I hope that you maybe do it a couple times so that you can get all of those down pat.